I think part of where some people are afraid to swing the bat is they're worried, what if I miss? What if I fail? And I think you're a very interesting story. And I might be paraphrasing here, but I thought you said something very powerful about when the ashes kind of occurred and everything went like the worst it could be. I believe you said when you had nothing left is when you realized you had everything you needed. And I think that there's a lot of character that gets taken from some of these situations where some people, myself included, I had this hand injury, I had all these things happen. And it was like, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And then 6 months later, I was like, was it? Maybe it was the lesson I needed. And obviously, there was probably life tried to give me that lesson a million ways first, and I didn't listen. So it was like, now I'm going to force you to listen. But talk about like taking something that is on all other aspects of your life considered like a negative or a tragedy and using that as a growth moment to make one of the most powerful and inspirational tales that other people can watch and learn from as well.
Yeah, you have a choice. It's because if you haven't had something terrible happen in your life yet, you will. You're not getting out of this thing unscathed. None of us do. So whether you had a tragic childhood or you had a great childhood and something tragic happens later in life, like it's not to be fearful of. It's just life. It is what it is. So the choice that you have is to curl up in a ball and play the victim, which we all have seen people do that, or we, see them on the internet complaining victim all the time. Or you can lean into it and let the worst thing that happened to you be the best thing that happened for you. And I'll say that again. You can choose to let the worst thing that happened to you be the best thing that happened for you. But that only happens if you step into the fire. That only happens if you seek meaning in the pain. Because I think that oftentimes God's purpose is packaged in pain. God's purpose in my life was to get me to, because again, my plan was to run that firm from 35 to 55 and then figure out what the next chapter was. Well, the next chapter got formed for me at age 41. So I had to lean into it, walk through that fire, walk through that pain, and figure out on the other side what all the blessings were. And now sitting here 4 years removed from it, like I'm doing all the same stuff I was doing within my firm for those 250 people, but now it's expanded nationwide, worldwide to just amazing businesses and people outside of the financial sector that I never would have searched for had I hadn't gone through that pain.